Hello, hi, you're welcome, and it's Henry the computer guy. So today I wanted us to talk about Microsoft Excel, and we are specifically going to be looking at some three functions here, and that is going to be the sum if, and the sum ifs function. So we are going to be seeing how we can use these three functions in Microsoft Excel. So I already created a Microsoft Excel file with some data there so that we can use that file. So let's open it down here. And that is the file that we are actually going to be using. It has some information, for example, the date, the color, the area, the quantity, and the total. That means that someone is actually buying some things at different dates and over different colors from different areas and over some different quantities. So that is actually what we are having. So before we begin, let's actually merge some of the cells here and we put our heading that we are going to be using. For example, we shall talk about the sum, we shall talk about the sum if, and lastly we shall talk about the sum ifs functions. So we can actually make this one bold and give it a different color actually for it to be visible. That is actually what we are working with. So now we are going to begin with the sum. When do we need to use the sum? For example, we always use the sum if we want to obtain the summation of the total of a certain range without any criteria. So we shall use the sum function. And we're going to be actually writing that sum here. But before we write our word as sum, we have to begin typing the equal sign. Whenever you're writing any formula or function, you have to begin with an equal sign because you're telling Excel that you want to make a calculation. So we shall put our equal sign there, then type our sum. So double click on it. Then they're telling us that we have to get the numbers to be added. Are we together? So we shall highlight from E3 to E9 because that's what we want to add. So we shall come and select these values. That is it. So we press enter for us to get the answer. Remember, sum is used to only add numbers but not words. So it will not add the words but it will add the numbers. So we are done with, let's say, using the sum. We come to what we call the sum if. When do we need to use the sum if? If I told you having a certain criteria, let's say one criteria, and you want to get, let's say, this total of that information that you're having, we need to use what we call the sum if. Now, for example, in our example here, they are giving us a criteria and they want us to put the results here. So they want only the criteria for red, but we add only those that are having the red color. So we shall come and say equals the sum if. Then we double click on it. It will ask us, for example, for the range, for the criteria and the sum range, what we need to add. Then where are we going to get the criteria? From which range? So that is what actually it is telling us. This is the range where we shall get the criteria. Then we actually get the criteria, then what we are going to be adding. So the range is going to come from the column that where we have the red color, and that is going to be the color. So we shall come and highlight from here up to down here. But if at all you're having many cells in a certain column, it will actually become difficult for you to highlight them just like that. So what you can do, you can click in the first cell, press the Ctrl and Shift onto your keyboard, then the down arrow. It will help you to select them at once. So it will actually save you time of highlighting. Then comma, what is the criteria that we are basing on? We want the red color. So we shall open the quotes. Remember, words are written under quotations. So we shall write our red color. Then we shall come and get what we call the sum range, what we want to add. We shall get all those ones from the total column. Are we together? Then we can close our bracket and press enter. It will give us that value. Now, this second is actually in need of red color and again from Kampala. So we have multiple criteria. That means that it will take us to what we call the sum ifs. So the sum ifs is actually used to add all arguments that meet multiple criteria. If you have more or multiple criteria, then you need what we call the sum ifs. So let's try it also and say equals then sum the sum ifs, which is this one. So it is telling us that we are going to indicate the sum range, the criteria, range, and the criteria. So in this case, what is going to be the sum range? What we are going to be adding? Of course, that will be the total, where we shall be adding from. Then comma, it is asking for us the criteria range. Remember, we have the first criteria is red. So we shall come and select where the red color is. That means that we shall select our color. The range is this one. Are we together? Then comma, we shall put the range we want to select from this range. That is going to be the red color. So that is the first criteria. Then comma, we select another one which is going to be from Kampala. That means that we need the area. So I'll select the range for that. Comma, then I'll also indicate what I want. That is Kampala. Open the quotes. Then I'll put my Kampala. Then I close my quotes. I close my bracket. Then I press enter. So it will give me the value as that. So we can as well try this one in a different way. For example, if we had some information, for example, we wanted the red color, then we wanted a, let's say, Kampala here. Simple as that. So we can use another way, we can get the same answers. For example, we will come here and say equals the sum if. Remember, we are only looking for the red color. The criteria is only based on red. Of course, they want us to get the range. The range is from the color. Are we together? Then they want us to get the criteria, comma. We get the criteria. The criteria is going to be red, but we have written red in B11. So we shall select B11. Then comma, we shall get the sum range. Of course, these are the values we shall be adding. Then we press enter. Close the bracket, then press enter. It has to give us the same answer. Then we come to this one. Equals sum ifs. We have to get the sum range, and that is going to be the sum range. What are we going to be adding? Then we get the criteria range. Of course, the first criteria is red. We shall look for the red, the color, highlight it. Then we put the criteria, and that is actually B11. That is the color. Then we come and select for Kampala. Kampala is in area. That means that we shall come and select our area. Then we select our criteria again. This is Kampala. Then we close our bracket and press enter. It has to give us the same answers. It doesn't matter how many criteria that you need. We can even say we are getting this and add another criteria. For example, let me copy this one and put it below. So let me remove these answers. Let me remove these answers. Because if we are to let's say make it for example, we can say a different color here. Let's say blue. Can come and look for that color, which is let's say blue. So if we put our blue color there, so we want to get the results for that blue color, we shall come and say equals the sum if. When we get the sum if, of course we shall get the range. Of course it will be from that color. Then that is the criteria. The criteria is going to be the blue. Are we together? We close the quotes. Then the sum range, where we're going to get to what we are going to be adding. Sorry, we didn't put comma. Sorry, comma. Then we shall come and get the sum range. Then we close our bracket and press enter. It will give us that value. Then if at all we need, let's say some 3 items here. For example, red, and it's going to be from red, Kampala, and again quantity. So that's a 3. So that means that we shall come and say equals sum ifs. We get the sum ifs, then the sum range. Of course, these are the sum range, what we want to use to add or to let's say get the summation for. Then we shall come and say we first write the first criteria. Of course, is already color. We shall come to the column of the color. Then we put the criteria. Of course, the criteria is red. Are we together? Yeah. Then we come and say comma. Then we come and say the area is Kampala. So we shall come and select all. Then we look for, again, Kampala. Then another criteria, remember they have told us now quantity, comma. Let's assume that the quantity is going to be actually, let's say, if at all we are to put it, let's say the quantity is going to be 1. We put our 1 there. Then we close our bracket, then we press enter. So it will actually add that. That means that it is going to look for red Kampala, but quantity as 1. So we shall come and say red Kampala, quantity is only 1. It is giving us this. Do we have any other? Of course, we have red here, but we have red Kampala by the quantity. So it is giving us the right answer as this one. So that is actually how we can come up with either the sum if, and the sum ifs. So if I told you you want to use the sum, you don't have any criteria, we can use the sum. You have one criteria, you can use the sum if. If you have multiple criteria, then you can use what we call the sum if say function. So it's been Henry the computer guy, and please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscription button below. And if you have those people who need this content, you can help me share the link to them. Bye bye, I sign out.